The CFL Gambling Podcast Week 1 reaction show and power rankings episode on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. You can win up to 325 times the amount you enter with their brand new Pick 8. Sign up today, and when you do, sign up with the promo code TCESGPN to claim your special pick plus first time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. That's UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code TCESGPN. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Get the best data-driven props and picks from Rhythm. Claim your free 7-day trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's RITHMM. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm.
This is Coach June Jones, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride.
Welcome to the CFL Gambling Podcast, Week 1 reaction show. As that fire music, shout out to our Canadian friends that gave us that music. Got to get the band's name. That always helps. But either way, shout out to that. And 1 week is in the books. Man, was it refreshing to me to see this action. Once again, you can watch this show, folks, youtube.com. Type in CFL Gambling Podcast, and we got you covered. But I had just a great weekend. Obviously you have, other sports going on. You had the Canadian Grand Prix going on. You had just a bunch of different stuff going on, but man, it was great to sit back and watch CFL. And I love the way they space out their games Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We're going to talk about all the games and what we thought of it. If you're wondering who the hell you're listening to, that's fair. My name is Colby Swinging Database Dan, a.k.a. Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
I'm probably drinking too much and celebrating too much and not sleeping. Would have killed a normal man, but no, that's gone. The medical advice I got from that was like being hit by lightning. Pretend it never happened and get on with your life.
Woo! I am drinking, and I'm drinking Canadian beverages. Shout out to the fine people over at Moosehead for this nice Canadian lager. And it goes perfect with a little money line play that I needed so bad. So bad. We're going to talk all about it, but this one's for the Argos. I am joined by my co-host. He is the host of the Old Fashioned Football Podcast, which you should check out. Who doesn't love whiskey and football talk? Also check out the UFL Gambling Podcast as well. Give it up for Justin Mark, a.k.a. J Mark. How are you, brother? And how was the first weekend of action? It was great, right?
It was great. I mean, I don't want to put down the UFL that we do the UFL Gambling Podcast on, but watching CFL, it was just like, okay, this is what it feels like to watch real football. I mean, it was just such a better product. I know they're not comparable, but it's hard not to compare when you have them side by side on different screens. And it's like, I don't even want this playoff game is much more important than week 1, but I don't even care about watching this playoff game because this shit over here is the real deal. This is good. I did have a rough week in my picks. Went 3-5 if you count the totals. 1-3 ATS. In fact, the wife, she wouldn't go anywhere with me, and here's why.
I expect you to win. My wife couldn't go to church with me on Sunday, and everybody said, "Where is she?" I said, "She doesn't go out with losers."
She doesn't go out with losers, so she wouldn't go anywhere with me. But I'm gonna recalibrate. I got some Canadian whiskey going on, Pendleton Rye, so gonna recalibrate, and we'll hit week 2 hard.
There we go. And look, anytime you can play, and Montana Tech's former coach, I'm drawing a blank on his name, but J Mark with the Canadian whiskey, he is getting after it. He's going hard.
They were like a hobo on a ham sandwich. They were going hard.
Yeah, I got that. I got him on my soundboard. Different clips.
Love it.
Different clips. Yep. But yeah. So let's get into it because I, like you, if you include totals, went 4-4. Went 1-3 ATS, but damn did I need Sunday night save me with an Argos money line play that I had I hit a trifecta essentially because I had I had the plus points, I had the money line, and I had the over, and that kind of saved my weekend because out the gates we hit a little rough seas. Let's jump over to it. Once again, I highly recommend watching this on YouTube because we're gonna have the stats, these fine graphics that are that Pick Dundee made. But obviously, I think this is the shocker of the week here. Montreal, the Alouettes, fresh off the Grey Cup, go to Winnipeg. They're in Manitoba, and just, I even think the numbers dress it up a little bit here. Winnipeg had more first downs than Montreal, but Montreal won 27-12. They only outgained Winnipeg by 26 yards. So to me, the turnover battle is what you circle. They had 3 turnovers, the Blue Bombers did. And not only that, they got in the red zone and just fumbled opportunities. Now, they didn't literally fumble, but overthrown passes in the end zone, drop touchdowns were the theme. They looked rusty. They looked bad. I had 4 overs on all 4 games. The under hits in this game. I feel like the over could have hit had they connected. There was a drop deep ball. There was a dropped, kind of a fade pass in the back of the end zone that just didn't work out. And for whatever reason, the Blue Bombers just looked like shit. They looked like they hadn't practiced all preseason. But your thoughts on this game? Because I came away super impressed with the Alouettes. They came there super focused. I thought they were the more physical team, and I thought they deserved to win. It's kind of stuck it to them.
Yeah, no, absolutely. They only had 2 sacks, but it felt like they were much more disruptive than that. 2 sacks doesn't tell the whole story of how this defense just really seemed to have the Blue Bombers rattled. Zach Claros did not look good. In fact, I was starting to question halfway through the game, like, has he hit that wall? I mean, he's 35 years old, I think. Has he hit that wall, or was this a fluke thing? They did bring up, Montreal, not just us saying they shouldn't have won the Grey Cup. A lot of people have been saying that and how they held that personally. So maybe this was just a rah moment where they're like, we got to get up and just dominate. And they did. Blue Bombers had 4, like you said, 4 trips to the red zone, and you have 12 points to show for that. You don't win football games that way.
Yeah. And let's talk a little bit about to me, you saw it last season in the Grey Cup. But Tyson Philpott, oh my God, man, this guy had 11 targets, and on 11 targets had 10 catches for 141 yards and 2 touchdowns. They had no answer for him. The run game for both teams wasn't really super efficient. That's something to take note of to me. But yeah, Caleros, 20 of 33, 209 yards and a pick. Not the best, just 6.3 yards per carry. Fajardo played good, I thought. I know he had the 1 interception, but I still thought he played pretty good considering. And man, maybe I was too down on the Alouettes. I know I don't want to overreact because it's a marathon in the CFL with their season as opposed to like UFL's 10 weeks. It's almost double that. And but I was impressed with their weapons with Philpott and Tyler Snead. I thought Charleston Rambo had some flash. It didn't catch the one ball that he almost did, but maybe the receiving core is a little better than I thought. And we'll see if the run game comes along. But yeah, I mean, getting after it for sure. And you wonder, had Winnipeg not got what Brian Cole had an interception for them that he took it almost to the house. Had they not got that, it would have been pretty bad, man.
Yeah. And it was bad enough as it was. So I agree with you about the concerns on the run game, or that's something to look at. Brady Oliveira, who was, I believe, named the 3rd or 4th best football player on CFL's list there. 11 carries for 38 yards. In 3-down football, you can't average 3.5 yards per carry. You're not going to move the chains that way.
Yeah. That was the biggest shocker. They were up 14-5 at halftime where the Alouettes, and really Winnipeg didn't score until I think they got 7 in the 4th, but When Montreal shut them out in the third, I was expecting like a huge second half from Winnipeg. Didn't happen in front of their home crowd. They don't lose at home that often. So, wow, shocker there. I lost both bets, ate a bundle of shit in this game.
And as if me betting the Blue Bombers against a spread, parlaying it with the over in a couple different ways, taking their big plays that is offered by FanDuel. As if that wasn't enough, at halftime I said, there's no way Bombers are losing this. Let's put some more on the money line. Didn't learn my lesson there. So
ooh, that can happen sometimes though.
yeah.
Sometimes that can happen where you're starting to think, they'll come back. Live bet this thing like Kansas Jayhawks basketball. I always do that. Now let's shift over to the second game here. But before we do that, I want to tell you folks that you are listening to the CFL Gambling Podcast. We are part of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, and make sure to check out our new daily podcast dedicated to giving out underdog picks. The Daily Dog is what we're calling it. A new 10-minute episode dropping every single day of the week, Monday through Friday. The Daily Dog. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. We're also brought to you by Circa. They announced that they're giving away their $16 million in guaranteed prizes for Circa Survivor and Circa Millions. Sign up in Las Vegas, Nevada, and play from anywhere with footballcontestproxy.com, promo code SGP. That's $50 off. Once again, that's footballcontestproxy.com, promo code SGP. All right. We are back on the CFL Gambling Podcast. So yeah, tough start for us. Now we jump on over to Calgary, and I gotta be honest, man. I know the yardage tells a different story. Hamilton goes into Calgary, but the turnovers, if you paid attention, the turnover battle 2-0 so far in the first two games we're talking about here, but Hamilton puts up 468 yards of offense, but only scores 24 points. Stampeders 32, Ticats 24. What in the hell happened here? They had 8 more first downs than Calgary. Almost 101 more yards of offense. Both teams efficient at running the ball. But I'll tell you this, man, this is where, I often recite stats on any of our shows because I think it does tell the story. Not this one. This one, I thought Calgary was the flat out better team. And Hamilton got some opportunity right before the half. They got some late in the game where they kind of padded the stat sheet, in my opinion. This one cost me my Pam Anderson huge tits parlay because that was the second leg of it. But looking forward to hitting that parlay next week. But I think I texted you this when watching this game. I was like, okay, well, I did take the over on Calgary, but I was kind of sold on their team. I thought they were a well-coached team. I thought the offense, defense, and special teams combined all played really well. Dedrick Mills is a stud. Jake Mayer played well, didn't turn the ball over. And to me, and Eccles Looper, my DFS play, scored a touchdown. He's and a receiver that, I know he only had 3 for 40 and a touchdown, but he is a guy that I think can come on and really, give this team a dangerous weapon on the outside. Your thoughts on this game? Because we both have futures on Hamilton to win it all. I'm not panicked at all. If anything, the yardage does tell me that they're going to be good at least.
Yeah, I'm not panicked either. I thought when I was watching this, they looked better as the game kind of went on that second half. I think Bo Levi had a little bit of rust to shake off, or he just seemed a little too rattled at first and wasn't making very good decisions or good throws. And I thought he looked better down the stretch. So I expect that to carry over into week 2, week 3, etc. Jake Mayer, I mean, like you said, he looked good. He's the only quarterback that started every game last year. And I think that consistency and that continuity with your team is important. And it showed on the field. I mean, he was on the same page right away with everybody, whereas it looked like Bo Levi maybe wasn't. So, but yeah, I kind of doubted Calgary's ability to run the ball with Dedrick Mills being their starter, and he showed me that I should not. I mean, he ran the ball very well, 6.7 average per carry. Not as well as my guy James Butler, who had 119 yards.
Great DFS play. Great DFS play by you. Yeah.
Loved it. But yeah, I mean, Calgary looked good. I'm not panicking on Hamilton yet, though.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a fair assessment. And one of the things that is noticeable is that the teams that have won the turnover battles are 2-0 so far. The over did hit here, so it saved my ass a little bit because I was on Hamilton, but at least the over hit for me. And the over really started to kind of make its way. That's the interesting thing. Normally, week one in a lot of these leagues, whether it's NFL, whether it's college football, normally I think we tend to think under, and I feel like I don't have the stats in front of me, but I feel like under kind of hits more often than over. But I 3-1 the overs were this past week. Um Calgary's over is going to hit. You know that, right?
I said I was not on their over, but yeah, I'm afraid you're right.
I know, but I think after watching that,
Yeah.
I mean, the special teams to the defense, I was impressed. I thought all around they looked pretty sound.
Yeah, no, I agree. What was their over under? Do you remember off the top of your head? I think it was 6.5.
Yeah, I was about to say 7.5, 6.5, something like that.
Yeah.
To get one already, you're looking good. They had a decent crowd show up too there in Alberta or in Calgary. Yeah, I mean, this is one, and then let's jump to the next one as we go to Edmonton. The Eskimos, good God. I mean, this is another one. They won the yardage by 30 yards, but a lot of that was the turn. And this was hilarious because both teams did turn the ball over a lot. But the favorites, the dogs were barking. The Rough Riders got it done on the road. Now this game, I do feel a little robbed. I bet on Edmonton. McLeod Bethel Thompson. Yeah, you have to learn to get rid of the ball. I thought he played decently. But like there's a couple times he just hung on the ball a little late and you're like, what are you doing? Stop, get rid of it. I feel like the Rough Riders stole this game in a way. This is the one where I think if you told me who is the team that was better than the other team or the best losing team that deserved the win the most this week, I would say it was the Eskimos. But the over hits for us. Spread does not. I was kind of baffled by this game because I felt like I think I was texting you while this game happened. I was like, oh, we got this one in the bank. I really thought that they had an 11-7 lead, which I guess I shouldn't think to have it in the that shouldn't just be cash right there. But no, they had a 18-8 lead going into the fourth.
Yeah.
Come on, you can't lose that game. This is the story of this franchise of late. And yeah, I don't know. Trevor Harris looked all right. What'd you think of Trevor Harris?
Yeah, I thought he looked pretty decent. Really hard to tell because a lot of I feel like his big plays, his yardage kind of came in that fourth quarter when they scored 21 points. And it just felt like Edmonton kind of ran out of gas a little bit. But I 100% agree with you on the fact that it felt like this one was kind of taken from us. And not to look ahead, I know we're going to talk about power rankings, but I walked away thinking Edmonton was the better team. After watching them, I know they didn't win the game, but I still walked away thinking they're the better team. They're going to finish. They're going to have a better season than Saskatchewan.
I do want to, and I kind of agree that I kind of thought that, now it wasn't substantially better to me, but I thought they were the better team. Like,
yeah,
I feel pretty deep. I'd make that same bet tomorrow, but I do have a little problem with Chris Jones here. You're up 18-8 going into the fourth quarter. You have a double-digit lead, and you only ran the ball to your running backs 10 times all game. 7 to Kevin Brown, 3 to Javon Leake, and so 10 carries, 27 yards. Pathetic. You have to me. In this, it doesn't matter whether it's American football or Canadian football. I know the rules are a little different, but the clock is your friend when you're up.
100%.
You got to commit to the run a little bit more. I guess Alouette didn't light it up either.
No.
18 for 40. Both teams very concerning on the line of scrimmage as far as running the ball. But Sean Bain, by the way, stud performance there. 5 catches, 125 yards, 3 touchdowns. Maybe you guard him. Maybe you guard him, but yeah. But your thoughts? Anything else you want to add? Dakota Prokop did get in for a 6. He had the longest run for the whole fucking team, but 6-yard rush.
Yeah.
I think I'm all right though with the power rankings, even though I think power rankings might have them far back right now, but I still think I'm not ready to say their season is going to be a disappointment after week 1. I still think they could surprise this year.
Yeah. And I know a lot of Toronto Argonaut fans were upset to lose AJ Alouette, 1.8 yards per carry. It's going to be interesting to see if that's because of bad O-line play by Saskatchewan, or if Edmonton continues to bottle up running backs. Especially important to watch for your DFS plays. If they continue to hold the run game so tight there, then don't play running backs against Edmonton.
Yeah. We are definitely learning a few things as we go regarding to that. But folks, shout out once again. I'm glad you guys are watching. I see 126 people live. Hit that like and subscribe button. Also, remember, wherever you get podcasts, CFL Gambling Podcast, hop on over to iTunes, please. If you can, give us a 5-star review, we'd appreciate it. But look, I want to tell you, the CFL Gambling Podcast is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Yes, Pick 8 is now live with the NBA Finals going on. Create entries up to 8 picks, and Underdog will automatically double flex entries so you can miss up to 2 picks and still win your entry. With more picks to make and extra ways to win, the excitement is higher than ever. And the best part is you can win up to 325 times the amount of money you entered. That's insane. And yeah, you can now use specials and boost too on all flexed entries. Don't miss your chance to try it out before it's gone, folks. Sign up. And when you do, sign up with the promo code TCE SGPN to claim your special pick plus first time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. That's underdogfantasy.com. Promo code TCE SGPN. All right. We are back on the CFL Gambling Podcast. And, the Sunday game was fantastic, by the way. I actually think it was better than the UFL game you mentioned in Toronto, Ontario. This game's all over the place, and I can't help but if you look at this, by the way, which teams that outgained the other team were 1-3. But so it doesn't always tell the tale. Like a lot of times I think it does, but yeah. Let me tell you about BC. I am very concerned about their future because they can't run the fucking ball. If it's not Vernon Adams, they can't run the ball. And the line of scrimmage, they got owned by Toronto. Like this was to me the biggest. You don't need to quote the stats to me. I mean, obviously the 5 turnovers is huge. And even with that, they still had a chance to tie the game up and send it to overtime. But the problem is I don't know if it's Vernon Adams holding on to the ball. I tend to think Vernon Adams is pretty good. They got fucked up on the line of scrimmage, man. And it wasn't just, one possession. This was the entire game.
Yeah.
So shout out to the Argos. Because Cameron Dukes looked really good. He was 21 of 27, 254.
Did you stop?
Is that you?
What?
I'm hearing. Oh, my bad. I heard audio. I thought you were playing a clip. My apologies.
It's all good. I was just confused.
Oh no, I thought you were playing a clip. I heard some audio in my headphones, so I was like, "What the fuck is he playing?" My apologies. Yeah. Anyway, this game, that's hilarious. The Argos 23 first downs, BC 21. But the real thing was, to me, Toronto was able to run the ball. And the line of scrimmage, yes, the 5 turnovers are absolutely huge, but don't forget Toronto had given up a defensive touchdown to BC early in that game as well. And I think, you look at this, at what they were able to do, Kadeem Carey looked pretty good. But I would say the main thing that stands out to me was I believe they had 6 sacks in the game.
Yeah.
BC, I know you're hosting the Grey Cup, but you're not going to be there if you can't. If you can't, I mean, you can't give up 6 sacks, game in, game out. Now Toronto's defense was great so you didn't hear that audio that was playing in the background because the audio was talking about the Argos defense being legit. So it must have been one of my websites that are open. But anyway, very impressed with the Argos, and I'm convinced get that future on them, dude. They look good.
Yeah, very good. And with Cameron Dukes, I mean, there was a lot of question marks there. I was torn because we've heard me say, this is my guy right here, Brian Scott, wanted him to draw the start. So it's like, man, I want the Argos to do well, but I don't know if I want Dukes to do well because I'd like to see Scott in there, but he looked really good. Kind of put all question marks aside, I think, of what are they going to do at quarterback without Chad Kelly, right?
Yeah,
and
100%.
Yeah, and like you said, Kadeem Carey looked pretty good. He ran the ball well when he needed to. It's like when they needed a big play from him, there he was. And then just that defense, like you said, they just swarmed them. I know they gave up a lot of points, but I do think that's because BC has a good offense. That defense is just tenacious. 6 sacks, 7 stops for a loss, tackles for a loss. I mean, the defense was all over them.
What's my guy's name? That's a stud that I can never pronounce his name. Oromolade. He is a fucking stud. He got after it, and man, dominate. I just don't think they're going to be that good to BC. I mean, they got to fix that. I don't know. Is that more of the Argos defensive line being elite, or is that BC's offensive line being weak?
I think it's the Argos, to be honest. Olamadin, or however you say it. I think he's a beast. Jake Seresna, who they traded Curly Gittens away for, he was in there making plays. He's a beast. I mean, I just think they have the best defensive line in the CFL, and they're going to cause problems for everybody.
Yeah. Ryan Dinwiddie doing a great job there. Excited to see the Argos. And their future price was one of our preseason episodes we were covering this. It was like a decent amount. I think I jumped in on it. I took it to win the East though, not the Grey Cup. But either way.
Yeah, and the Grey Cup's still looking at a good price, plus 470 right now.
Yeah, after watching that, I'm kind of sold because I only think the offense will get better as the weeks go on, and providing everyone stay healthy. Yeah, dominating performance. I couldn't believe BC was favored. I had the money line here, the over hit for us. I think I cashed plus 235 on the money line. Saved my ass for this weekend when it comes to Canadian football. And yeah, I'm excited for this week. Look, we're going to get to our power rankings, folks. But before we do that, I want to tell you that the CFL Gambling Podcast is brought to you by Rhythm. If you're betting on NBA player props, then you need to download Rhythm. Rhythm gives you a menu of the best player props for every single NBA game, making it easy to go through and find the best props to put your money on in a matter of seconds. Rhythm's predictions are backed by over 3 years of data and a team full of data scientists and quants that focus on fine-tuning their algorithm to give you the best shot at winning. Rhythm pairs its predictions with player prop graphs to help you feel even more confident in your picks, which you can make from wherever you normally place your bets or DFS picks. From superstars to bench players, Rhythms, they find the best prop lines, essentially, all backed by AI data, without you needing to endlessly scroll through a sports book. So what are you doing, folks? Rhythm also allows you to create your own, custom NBA models. So claim your free 7-day trial today. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. We're also brought to you by Game Time. Game Time is now an authorized ticket marketplace of the MLB and Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets even faster and easier. And look, prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to the first pitch. And with killer last minute deals, all in prices, views from your seats, and the lowest price guarantee that they offer, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. So what are you doing, folks? Take the guesswork out. Take the guesswork out of buying those tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app today. Create an account. Use that redeeming code CFBX for $20 off your first purchase. Once again, terms apply. Redeeming code CFBX for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. It is power ranking time. As you can see, I failed this. I had the plus 235. I is what my actual ticket was, but it was 240 when we called it on the show. Hamilton, you let me down with my huge tits parlay. Anyway, let me take this way. Go back to this. I'm curious, power rankings wise, who do you got at number 9? I think we got to put Ottawa, right? Just because we never saw them.
Yeah, 100% agree. They were a bot anyways at the beginning of the season for me, so you can't move them anywhere. I don't think anybody played so bad that you put them below a team we haven't seen. So yeah, I think they stay there.
So at 8 begs the question, and this is the one where, I mean, I had to put Edmonton, but I don't feel good about it. I think they looked better than the result of the game. So I'll take Edmonton at 8 because I just feel like they're 0-1 and their recent history has been horrible. And I thought they died out a little bit in that game. I'm concerned a little bit about that. McLeod, Bethel, Thompson's a little long in the tooth age wise as well. So you got to worry about that a little bit. So I put them at 8, even though do I really think they're the 8th worst team right now? I thought they were better than the Rough Riders. So I don't know. I put them at 8 still. Who'd you have at 8?
Yeah. Speaking of Bo Levi or McLeod Bethel Thompson, sorry. He did look a little old back there, but I still walked away thinking they were the better team. So I've got Saskatchewan at 8. I know that'll raise some eyebrows. Some people think I'm crazy. That's fine. I still think overall that they're going to be the better team.
I think you're right, more than likely, but that's why to me that at 7 I put Saskatchewan just because I don't know that they're that good. They stole that game. It was on the road. They were honoring like their whole fucking history playing at the different stadium and stuff. You know what I mean? So it's like you got to win that game. I'm sorry, you got to win that game. Eskimos got to get their shit together. But so I have Saskatchewan at 7. The Rough Riders didn't look amazing to me, but still got the win. So I can't talk too much shit. How about you?
Yeah, I got Edmonton. They're both very close for me. I just thought that I thought they looked a little bit better, even though they lost the game.
Yeah. At number 6 for me, this is where I put Winnipeg. I don't think they look good. They didn't look good, man. Am I going off of like years past? Because if I'm going off years past, I'm smarter than putting them there. But at the same time, if I'm judging it honestly on 1 week of football, they did not look like a good football team. They overthrew passes. They dropped passes. They picked up stupid penalties. They looked like a bad football team. I'm sure I will be wrong about this in 10 weeks or 5 weeks or 2 weeks, but based off of week 1, I'm sorry. They look like shit. I actually think you could argue that Saskatchewan and Edmonton look better than Winnipeg. Just throwing that out there. Your thoughts?
They did look bad. I agree with that. It might be a reflection of Montreal might be better than we thought. I don't know, but I do agree they looked bad. I don't have them that low. Next, I have Hamilton. I have a lot of hope for Hamilton. I didn't see it on the football field. There were some sparks here and there, but I just didn't see it. You got to wonder how long Bo Levi is going to be healthy. I will say I really liked that he goes out one play. Taylor Powell comes in. Do they run the ball to kind of get him warmed up? No, he throws a 12-yard dart for a first down. And it's like, I mean, that takes balls. You gotta just be cool and confident and calm to be able to come in there, just throw the first down and not worry about it. So I liked seeing that. Just in case Bo Levi does get hurt, then maybe they're okay.
And then I saw they sign Tolia Tagovailoa
Yeah.
today, which another June Jones guy. June Jones coached him in high school. They got just a slew of June Jones quarterbacks there. 3 out of their 4 quarterbacks are former June Jones quarterbacks. Go check out our June Jones interview, by the way, if you haven't caught that. Yeah, not me, buddy. I thought Hamilton looked better than BC. BC, I get it. Like, you lit up the stat sheet, but you couldn't run the ball, glaring flaw to me. And then pass protection was fucking horrible. Now, maybe you're right. Maybe it's just Toronto has an amazing defensive line, which we know they're good. I just don't know if I could put a lot of faith in BC though, because I don't even know if your offensive line's that bad. Vernon Adams ain't making it through the year. I'll tell you that. I thought Hamilton looked more complete than BC did. So I put BC at what are we, 6th right now?
That's 5th.
5th. Okay, yeah. Sorry. Yep. I had BC at 5th.
I also had BC at 5th. Like you said, they didn't play well. I do think, and if you take that defensive touchdown away, you're looking at only 20 points. I do think Toronto's defense is very, very good, but the offense, you let a guy who has 2, maybe 3 starts under his belt come in and put up a shit ton of points on you. You can't do that. You can't let a guy like that that's so young in this league look so good. Look like one of the best quarterbacks this weekend.
Yeah.
And maybe he is, but when you're the franchise that is the BC Lions, you gotta figure out a way to slow him and make him look bad. And they didn't. So yeah, I think they were pretty bad as well.
Yeah. And so we both had him at 5. At 4, I had Hamilton because I thought Hamilton, I actually thought did improve with the game. Like you said earlier, I think they're a team that, I still feel very good about my future. And I think, they started the first quarter a little slow. And if you take out that first quarter, they were moving the ball fairly successfully. So I'm not panicked. I think they're the 4th best team thus far.
Yeah. At number 4, I got Winnipeg. I think it's probably an overreaction. They probably won't be 4th at the end of the year, but maybe. I mean, if Zach Claros is hitting that wall finally, this is a franchise that has been good consistently over the past handful of years. Their luck's got to run out at some time, or the talent pool, I guess, is getting older and they have to run out of winning game after game after game. So, but I do think they're 4th right now.
Yeah. And at number 3, I agree. Well, we had our differences is we had Hamilton and Winnipeg opposite, yep. I believe. My 3rd ranked team is the Stampeders. They look complete too, man. Like, I was impressed. I know the yardage tells a different story, but I was still impressed. I got the Stampeders at 3, and like I said, I'm glad I got an over on them because I think it's going to cash. Who do you got at 3?
Same. I got the Stampeders as well. They surprised me with how good they looked. I did not expect them to look that good. I don't think I had them winning a lot of games, actually. Flipping back here, I had them winning 5. I think they're going to go over that. So just from after looking at week 1, I mean, they're 1 in. I think they're going to be able to scrounge together 4 to 5 more wins. So yeah, I think they look good, and they're number 3 right now for me.
Dave Dickinson knows a thing or two about this fine sport of football. At number 2, I had the Toronto Argonauts. You can make an argument they deserve to be number 1, but they didn't go on the road and win, and that's why my number 1 is my number 1. In fact, they won in such a tough environment too, but they certainly look really good. The Argonauts did. Ryan Dinwiddie continues to impress me. They lose a bunch of players in free agency. Starting quarterback is suspended, maybe even kicked off out of the league, whatever. Defensive coordinator leaves, takes a coaching job. You know what I mean? And they just pick it up where they left off. So at number 2, I have the Argos. How about you?
Yeah, I will make the argument that they could be number 1 because my number 2 is Montreal. I know it was a good win on the road. I'm not trying to take anything away from them at all. To me, it just looked like that Winnipeg is more vulnerable than they have been in years. I mean, I think you tweeted it out, or maybe it was from the CFL Gambling Pod, but they're under 500 for the first time since 2018.
Insane, right?
Yeah, maybe they are vulnerable now.
Well, I'll tell you this. The argument is that Montreal won the Grey Cup last year, and then B, they go to the most difficult place to play in this league, and they kind of just dominated them from start to finish.
Yeah.
And if anything, I came away thinking like Montreal's better than what I thought. You know what I mean? Like they're more at the skill position players to me. I thought maybe they would have a little weakness at the wide receiver spot. No, I think they're looking all right, and we'll see if you're right though about Winnipeg, because every dog has its day, and maybe this great run, this great dynasty that is the Blue Bombers, maybe it's done, but we'll see, because I think it's fair to argue for either side of this, but to me, winning on the road a little bit easier or a little bit more difficult than winning at home, but still, if you could say, hey, well, they didn't have their starting quarterback, he's suspended 10 weeks, maybe forever. They had, their entire team kind of gutted in a way, and they still got it done. So I think it's fair to claim either as the best. But look, I don't like being on neutral like that. I like to talk shit. So no, you fucking picked it incorrectly. All right.
Yeah, no, I kind of to what you're saying. One of the reasons I put them at number one is, I mean, they traded away their best wide receiver in Curly Gittins. I don't even know if they need Chad Kelly from what we saw. They also have Arbuckle, who he's a veteran. I'm not going to say he's a great player, but he's a veteran in this league that has won games. They have Brian Scott, who I think is growing in this league and learning the game. They lose AJ Alouette and they replace him with an older running back, but still he runs the ball very well. The defense looks dominant. So yeah, I was just really impressed because I didn't expect them to win this game at all. I thought, there's too much turnover. They don't have Chad Kelly, and Cameron Dukes is too young. They're going to get overwhelmed. I know I picked them in the +6, but I thought they would keep it close enough at the end, get some garbage stuff, and BC would still win the game. And we'd walk away going, Toronto didn't really look that good. But they did. They were phenomenal on the field.
They really were. Shout out to Ryan Dinwiddie. Great job. And shout out to us. Great job, with the exception of that minute gap where I was hearing that fucking sound. I'm fucking around, but I really was hearing a sound. Anyway, folks, subscribe to the CFL Gambling Podcast, because we're just getting started. We're back probably Thursday, I would assume, to maybe Wednesday, because we have a Thursday game. Let me ask you that real quick. Let's before we get out of here, let's give the people what they really want, and that is week 2. We have our games. Do I have the lines on these? Yes. So we have Thursday, Winnipeg and Ottawa, the Red Blacks, who had last week off. Friday, Montreal, Edmonton. Saturday, Calgary, BC. Sunday, Saskatchewan and Hamilton doing battle. What is the game you want to see most? And I'll follow with, what is the game that you want to see least?
I want to see them all. I won't say I want to see any of them least. Most, I think I'm looking forward to that Winnipeg game. I want to see if that was a fluky thing. I know that Ottawa is not Montreal, but can Winnipeg suck up that loss, swallow their pride, go on the road and dominate Ottawa, which they should, right? If we were talking about this before this weekend, we'd say, Ottawa is going to get destroyed by Winnipeg. Now it's like, are they? So yeah. I want to see that. I want to see how Winnipeg responds to that loss. Least.
Man. Well, let me answer this for you for the most watch for me.
Yeah.
The one I want to see most is Calgary, BC, because if BC loses that, I think that's the most intriguing game, because Calgary is way better than what the national narrative was, or what people projected them to be. And if they win in BC, and BC's 0-2 to start the season, they begin to panic. And then Calgary looks like they're a legit contender at this Grey Cup this year, 111th Grey Cup. But the game I want to see least, I do want to see them all. But to me, the one that's probably least is probably the Montreal Edmonton game, just because I have a future on Hamilton, so I'm hoping they get their shit together. How about you?
I was going to say Saskatchewan Hamilton because I think Hamilton's going to beat them
up,
easily.
Right?
Yeah. Interesting to look at just the early lines. BC catching 8.5, 8.5 point favorites. I'm not sure what they did to deserve that. I would jump on Calgary now because I think that's going to drop.
Yeah, and I would jump all over that Hamilton one you talked about. But look, I don't want to give away our next show Wednesday. Probably Wednesday or I think we're gonna have to do it on Wednesday at some point. But yeah, or maybe tomorrow. We'll see. But subscribe to the CFL Gambling Podcast because we have. I'm telling you, I'm 4-4. He's 3-5, but it's week 1. Relax. Last season on VSiN, the network, if you followed me there, I had 18 straight picks correct. 18 straight, which was probably the best round I've had in any sport ever.
And I had the highest picks percentage on Tally Site.
There you go.
I was the only one picking CFL games on Tally Site, but
hey, own it. All right.
63% though. That's still good.
That is. Folks, so check us out. Remember, youtube.com. Hop on over there, type in CFL Gambling Podcast. You'll see us. We're also at CFL Gambling Pod on Twitter. Follow, like, subscribe. iTunes, please, if you can, give us a 5-star review. We are the CFL Gambling Podcast. And I'm already ready to lock up. And I didn't hit my Pam Anderson huge tits parlay, but you better believe that I have it circled. I feel like I was pretty damn close. Close. If Hamilton just plays, a little better in the first quarter, I feel like I walk away with that thing. And anyway, that's coming this week too. So until next time, folks, this is the CFL Gambling Podcast. You better start thinking about yours. And we out of here.
I'm from a different skill set with the proof that I'm on. Really ain't no shame for me to toot my own horn. Cause who else gonna do it? Okay, maybe lots. You may be in the game or you may be lost. I'm crazy across the whole world, putting work like an urchin. Unusual merchant, reputable work. Cause I do work with person, you know it's for certain. 4 times a year, I'm unveiling the curtain, hailing another piece of the fabric. This magic, cause I'm a beast with the ravage and the average. Girls see me shoot a rhyme down the cleavage. I'll never go without the best music I need. This I'm spastic with jazz. My homies here to show that you mastered the craft. Turn your Sony up and blow back your wig, please. If you dig grease, got